in my virtual world and think it's good. Text me if they want. All right, wonderful. Well, hi everyone, I'm Erin. This is a gentle yoga class. And today we're going to focus on the pause between our response and our action. And the reason that we will do this is because I pay attention to all things planetary. And right now, Mars is in retrograde, which Mars is our action, aggression, our behavior. And we have a full moon coming up that's going to be right on top of that. So it's going to be a really intense time. Probably this next at least 3 to 4 days, maybe this next week, where it'll be difficult for us to do that, right? It's going to be more reactionary, things are going to be more intense. You may even notice disruptions in sleep. And so this practice of taking the time to pause before we move forward, before we act, before we speak, to really reflect back in to make sure that it's something that we want to do that's in alignment for us. And this is so vital in our yoga practice, the ability to pause when we come to our mat, to pause in between each pose, to take a mental pause when we're in each pose, to check in to see, is this in alignment with my body? How am I feeling inside of my body? How am I feeling emotionally? What's happening mentally? And can we kind of rein that in? So in yoga, the mind can sometimes go in all different directions. And the focus is to bring it back to the breath, to bring it back to our center, so that we have that ability to pause and to be in the space between each thought and between our reactivity, to respond rather than to react. So let's take a comfortable seat. You can sit up on your props. And ideally, you want the tops of your thighs to be higher than your knees. So you can check in with that. So oftentimes we think about our hips up here by our pelvic bones, but really your hip is the joint where your femur goes into the socket. So tops of the thighs higher than the knees. I could do something a lot taller here. And then close your eyes. Sit up nice and tall. And welcome yourself to your practice. Welcome yourself to your mat. Maybe even take a moment to welcome yourself to your body. Pay attention to the parts of your body that are connected to the ground, that are touching your props or your mat, and allow those parts to get really heavy. You could even imagine that you're growing roots deep and wide into the earth. And from there, letting the lower half of your body be heavy. Let your breath grow you taller as you lengthen your spine, focusing on breathing in and out through your nose if that's available to you. And if it's not, then you just breathe in whatever way creates more calm. On your next inhale, lengthen the side bodies. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. And see if you could bring the center of your head right over the base of your spine. This may mean leaning back just slightly. And imagine that you're supported here. That you could lean right back into the seat of a chair, to something greater than yourself. And now relax your tongue in your mouth. So let the tongue get heavy and wide on the lower palate. Soften the jaw, so there's a little space between your lower jaw and your upper jaw. Relax all of the little muscles of your face. Widen the corners of your eyes. And pause. Maybe you already notice a slight shift energetically from when you first sat on the mat. Maybe things were able to slow down. Maybe there's more space to breathe, to be. And maybe there's a letting go of whatever was bothering you outside of the studio, whatever's going on in your life off of your mat. Can you release that, if only for the next hour we spend together? And then please bring your hands together in front of your heart. You could bring your thumbs to touch your sternum, connecting you to yourself. And then gently fan your fingers away, representing the connection to others. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. It could be to remember to pause, remember to check in. And then from there to move forward, both in your practice and off of your mat. And it could be something completely different, whatever resonates with you. We'll seal in our intentions and begin our class by taking 3 cleansing breaths to get your breath in and let it go. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands. Perfect timing. So we're going to start laying down. You can move your props off of your mat, but you'll want to have your strap in the body, somewhere where you can reach. And if you're at home and you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf, use a belt. Come to recline. And then if you have room, you'll take your arms overhead and take a full body stretch. And if you don't, you can take your arms to cactus and lengthen out through your toes. Let your body get heavy on the ground here. So sometimes just doing this, just laying on the earth, can create a shift, can ground us back into our bodies, bringing us out of the thinking mind. From here, draw your right knee into your chest. So you'll just hug your knee in, and notice if it starts to track over towards your armpit. If it does, bring it back in closer to your body, closer to the midline, so that maybe the knee would line up with the side of your neck. Check in with your left leg, your left hip, and let those parts of yourself be heavy. Take your shoulders back and down, shoulder blades onto your back. And check in with your breath again. Focus on breathing in through your nose and drawing the breath all the way down into your belly. And as you exhale, letting all of the breath empty back out. And then you'll take your strap and you'll bring it over the ball of your right foot and extend your right leg up toward the sky. So it may not straighten fully. That's okay, and you can stay a little bent. And then take both of the straps into your right hand. And notice if your right shoulder and shoulder blades start to lift up off of the mat. And if they do, you'll slide your hands down the strap until you can reconnect there. So you imagine that the strap is just the extension of your arm. Keep your arm straight if you can. Flex your foot, press up through your heel. Keep your left leg active, foot flexed. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, gently open your leg out to the right. So just be mindful of what's next to you. And you'll notice that you start to roll to your right hip. Bring your left hand to the top of your left thigh and try to root and ground through your left hip, through your left leg. Check in and breathe. So now that we're here in this shape, can you take a moment to pause in the pose, to notice where tension is sneaking in? Maybe it's in your tongue or your mouth, the squinting of the eyes or the furrowing of the brow. Maybe it's in your neck and shoulders. Where could you relax a little bit more? And where do you need to bring more engagement, more strength? Inhale, bring your leg back up to center. Now change hands on the straps. So straps come into your left hand. Right arm is going to come down to a T or to cactus. So cactus is bent at the elbow with the back of your hand on the ground. Your elbow's in line with your shoulder. Your wrist is over your elbow. Take a breath in here, and as you exhale, you'll twist. You'll bring your leg across the body over to the left, and you'll roll all the way onto your outer left. So here, the pinky toe edge of your left foot comes down to the ground, yeah? And you can check in with your low back. Your low back should be perpendicular to the earth. If your right shoulder lifts up, that's okay. Just bring your right hand onto your rib cage. If your right hip starts to hike up towards your ribs, gently press it away and breathe. And inhale, come back up to center. Extend your right leg back up towards the sky. Then you'll release the strap, but keep your leg extended. Take your hands to your low belly. Draw your low belly down towards the mat. So you're engaging your core here and making it safe to protect your low back. As we slowly lengthen the right leg, bringing it all the way down to the ground. And then once it lands back on your mat, pause. Notice that there's a difference between the right side of your body and the left side of your body. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. The same thing here, check in to see that the knee is not tracking towards the armpit, but rather right in line with the side of your neck, drawing in towards your chest. And the more you can kind of pressurize this leg and get your thigh closer to your body, the more you'll activate this meridian, the energetic pathway that runs up the top of the thigh. You'll get benefits no matter what, but you want to be a little active here in the hugging in. Then flex your right foot, extend out through your right heel, keeping your right leg that's on the ground, rooted and engaged. Relax your shoulders back and down. Breathe. Did your tongue get tense? Can you soften there? Could you make your face expressionless? Could you invite in a little more breath down into the belly? And then you'll take your strap over the ball of your left foot and extend your left leg straight up towards the sky. Take the straps into your left hand. Slide your hand down the straps until your shoulder blade connects onto your back and you can feel it press into the ground. Try to keep that left arm straight. Few breaths here. And then as you exhale, you'll take your leg open to the left. Opening up the hip. And notice if you start to roll onto your left side, onto that left hip, move down more through the right. Yeah, you can even take your right hand and press down that right thigh, checking in there. Inhale, come back up your center. Then change hands on the straps. Bring your left arm out to a T or to cactus. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, guide your leg across your body all the way over to the right. You'll roll onto the outer right hip. You may even have to pick up your hips and scooch them an inch to the left, so that the whole back starts to come close to perpendicular to your mat. Notice if your left hip is hiking up, gently press that away, making space and length in the side body. And if your left shoulder lifts up, you'll just rest your hand on your ribcage here. Breathe. Inhale, come back up to center. Release the strap, bring your hands to your low belly, draw your low belly in, navel moves towards your spine, and keep that as you slowly lower your left leg all the way down to the ground, lengthening out of your hip. And then pause once you're back on the ground, both legs moving. Hug both knees into your chest. Gently roll to your right side, come all the way up, and make your way into tabletop, coming to all fours. If your knees are sensitive, if the ground feels a little too hard, just pat your knees with a blanket. And then walk your knees back until they're just under your hips or slightly behind. See that your wrists are under your shoulders. If you can widen out your hands. Good. Great. Index fingers point straight ahead. Take a few breaths. And then on your next inhale, you'll find your cow tilt. Your sitting bones lift, belly softens, melt the heart, take your gaze up, little back bend here. And as you exhale, round through your back. Tailbone draws down, belly draws in, chin to your chest. And then move with your breath. And here we begin to notice our responses, our reactivity on that. Is our tendency to want to go really fast, to think about the breath last? Is our tendency to overthink it, to stay in our head instead of being in our body? So our yoga practice begins to reveal our patterning to us. And the more we can witness this and bring awareness to it, the more we can be aware when it becomes activated off of our mat and remind ourselves to pause, to breathe. Now inhale, come back to neutral spine. And here you'll walk your hands slightly forward and a little wider. So this is called marauding bear. It's like you're a bear coming out of hibernation. And you're just gonna do a big hip circle. Sending your hips back, over to the left, then up to the left and over to the right. You could close your eyes here and not worry about what this looks like, and instead bring the focus into your body. Notice how it feels, where you need to bring in more movement. If you need to speed up or slow down, maybe you get your head involved. In prenatal yoga, they call this the animal inside your skin, right? That primal part of us that can really tap into what our body needs. And then the next time you come forward and into the center, you'll pause and reverse direction. And notice how one side of the body probably feels really different from the other. You could even hold a position that feels good. Sending some breaths into whatever part of your body needs it most. And we'll inhale, come back to center, and we'll make our way into child's pose. So we'll take your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, send your hips back towards your heels. You need some props between your seat and your feet. You can feel free to give yourself some support there. And then walk your hands forward. Maybe your forehead comes down to the earth. Press your hands down into your mat. And with the strength of your arms, see if you could bring your hips and your seat a little closer to your feet. If at any point something doesn't feel good on your body, if there's numbness, tingling, pain, if there's just an intuitive feeling that this isn't the right shape for you, you come out. If child's pose doesn't work, you could lay on your back and hug your knees into your chest. Only you know your body. From here, walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. You can even take your left fingertips a little further away. Lengthen from your hip to your armpit, stretching out all those intercostal muscles in between each rib. Notice what happened to your breath. Notice when you hold your breath, when there's resistance. Inhale, come back to center. Take a moment and pause here. And then walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side body. You could walk your right fingertips a little further away. Lengthen from your hip to your armpit. Inhale, come back to center. And then we'll make our way into downward facing dog. So if you have some socks on that don't have grippies, this will be the time to take them off. Check in with your hands. Index fingers point straight ahead. Wrist creases are parallel to the front of your mat. Tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back as you move into downward facing dog. Knees can stay bent here. So the most important thing to focus on in down dog is the length of the spine. We want to keep the spine long, keep a natural curve in the low back and the lumbar spine. And if our hamstrings are tight, straightening the leg causes this part of the body to round. So better to keep the knees bent and the spine neutral, but have the legs straight and the back rounded. Press into the index fingers, the thumb mound. Send your sitting bones up, back, and apart. And chest moves towards your thighs. Few more breaths. It may feel like a lot of work. Notice the response when things feel like a lot of work. On your next breath in, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold. Again, knees can stay bent. You could bring your hands up onto blocks here. On your next inhale, lengthen to a flat back. So your hands will come up the sides of your legs. You'll reach out from the crown of your head. Exhale, lift your belly and fold. Two more like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. One more. The next inhale, come all the way up to stand. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Release your arms by your sides. So you'll stand in mountain pose into Tadasana. Feet are parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. You can widen out through your heels. See that your knees point straight ahead, all four corners of the knees. Then activate your legs. So all the muscles in the leg hug to the bone. You root down into the ground. Take your palms to face forward so that the shoulder blades roll onto your back. Sternum rises. On your next inhale, reach the arms up. Lengthen up through your fingertips. Exhale, swan dive forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. And exhale, step back into downward facing dog. From here, inhale, come forward to a high plank. Shoulders come over your wrists and then bring your knees down. As you bring your knees down, notice if your butt started to move back, you'll lengthen your tailbone. So tailbone lengthens towards your heels, hips press forward. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, bend your elbows straight back and roll all the way down to the earth. Once you're here, point your toes, press the tops of the feet down. Notice that gravity probably made your shoulders round forward. So you'll resist that. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. Press into your hands. Inhale, little back bend. Lift your heart. And then exhale back down. Tuck your toes. You can press back into child or come right into down dog. Up to you. Inhale, your right leg lifts to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot forward. You may have to take a couple of steps to get it up there. We're going to come into a lunge. And this is where you might want your blocks handy. So right knee comes over your right ankle. Back heel lifts. Press your back thigh up towards the sky. Keep bending into your right leg. Good. Lengthen the sternum, shoulder blades onto your back. Breathe. Hug the legs in towards each other. Notice how when you draw your energy back in towards your core, towards your midline, that maybe you feel a little stronger. Maybe it feels like you could stay here for even if it was just one more breath. Then you'll take your left hand, if it's on the block, you can bring it to the ground, and inhale, sweep your right arm up as you twist. Opening up towards your right leg. Keep pressing up for your left thigh. Curl the heart open, shoulders back, and lean back. See what you could do here to make this feel good. Maybe it's one fleeting moment of, that's nice. Exhale and release. Step back into down dog. And take your time. And here you have an option to best suit your practice. If you want to stay in down dog, stay in down dog. You could take a moment in child pose, or you can move through a vinyasa. Moving through a vinyasa is that process of coming forward to the high plank, lower, lowering down, inhaling up into cobra, and exhaling back into down dog. From downward facing dog, whenever you arrive there, you'll inhale your left leg up, exhale, step it forward, coming into a lunge. Take your time. Left knee is over the left ankle. You can come up onto your blocks, giving yourself a little height, a little lift, a little more room. Press up through your right thigh, hug the legs in towards each other. Breathe. Can you draw your shoulder blades onto your back? Could you grow a little taller through your spine? And then from here, you'll take your right hand down. You could even come off of your mat and inhale, sweep your left arm up. Curl the shoulders back, heart open, lean back, breathe. Exhale, release. Take your time getting back into down dog. Same options here. So everybody needs something different from their practice. Everybody has a different relationship to their energy, a different constitution. So maybe you need more movement. Maybe you need more rest. There's no right or wrong thing to do, just the best choice for you right now. And once you come back into down dog, you'll inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold. Press down into your feet, inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And need a drink of water, now's a good time. We'll come into a balancing pose here. We'll come into tree. We'll bring all of your weight into your right foot, seeing that your right foot is parallel, move straight ahead. And then you'll open your left knee out to the side with the ball of the foot on the ground. And then you'll decide here, bring your hands to heart center to your hips. And decide, do you want your heel to stay at your ankle? Do you want to slide your foot up the side of your shin? Or do you want to move your foot up over your knee to your upper inner thigh? The only place the foot can't go is on the side of the knee. You can find a drishti, a focal point, something to just bring your gaze to help you balance. Lower will be easier. Higher will be a little harder. And then when you're ready, maybe your arms come up and maybe they don't. Press your foot into your leg, your leg back into your foot. Draw in towards yourself. And when you're ready, release, shake it out. Let go of whatever story comes up about your ability to balance, your inability to balance, or whatever it is today. And then bring all your weight into your left foot. So the kneecap lifts, this leg is nice and strong. Open your right knee out to the side. And just start here, the ball of the foot on the ground to get your bearings, right? And then decide what's best on this side. When you feel steady and ready, then maybe arms reach. And so you give yourself a little room to bend, to wobble, to play. Right, and then we notice maybe we're somebody that's really hard on ourselves, so it's difficult to do that. Or maybe we have a real connection to play and fun. We laugh and fall. And whenever you're ready, come on out. Right, so let's face the rainy street and take your legs really wide. So here you want your feet to be parallel, so widen your heels most likely. Good. Extend your arms straight out from your shoulders to a T. And then eventually we're working towards aligning our ankles under our wrists. If that's not available today, it's no problem at all. Just more important to have the feet parallel, right, than to achieve that wider stance. Good, now bring your hands to your hips. Turn your left toes to face forward. And pivot your heel to arch a line. So if I drew a chalk line down your mat from your front heel, dissect the arch of your back. Bend your left knee. If your knee moves past your ankle here, more space. So heel back, foot back. Extend your arms straight out in line with your shoulders. Bring your gaze forward, out over your left middle finger. Warrior two. Center of the head right over your tailbone. Breathe. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. So your back hand comes to gently rest on your back leg. Keep bending into your left knee and then leaning back, lengthening out of your hip. Press into your left foot, straighten your left leg, keep leaning back. Inhale up to the T, exhale, hands to your hips. Turn your left toes in, your right toes out, turn the side. So you set yourself up, heel to arch, bend into your right knee. Extend your arms straight out in line with your shoulders. Past your ankle, a little more space. Center of the head right over the tailbone. Breathe. Gaze out over your right middle finger. What happens when we pause here? We bring in some more breath. And then flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, nothing changes in your legs. Your back hand just rests on the back leg. It doesn't become a support in the pose. The legs are still what support us. Leaning back, lengthen. Press into your right foot, straighten your right leg, keep leaning back. Good. And then inhale, arms up to T, exhale, hands to your hips, turn your right toes in, and step your feet together. Come to stand at the top of your mat into Tadasana once again. Hands to your heart. Close your eyes, check in. Feel the beating of your own heart. Feel your breath in your body. Feel that there's been a shift in some capacity. There's circulation, breath, maybe change in energy. And then as you inhale, sweep your arms up. Reach up, lengthen, exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. You have an option to move through a final vinyasa here, or you can come right into child pose. We'll all meet in child pose and there, so up to you. Knees wide, big toes together, forehead to the ground. If your forehead doesn't come to the ground, just use a block, bring the ground to you. See if you can soften and melt the heart. And then inhale, walk your hands in. We'll take our two blocks. We're going to come into a pose called heart bench. So in a heart bench, you take two blocks. One block you have options with. It could go like this at a high setting so that it would run in between your shoulder blades along your spine. If that's too high, you can drop it down, or you could do it this way. So you can play and see what's going to feel best. And then the second block comes higher than the first, and that's for your head. No. You can start like this and see. And if you get into the pose and you're like, oh, can't breathe, it's too high. So you'll come to sit and you set, spine long. And as you exhale, you'll lower yourself down. You want the block along your back to be in the thoracic part of the spine. That means where your rib cage connects to the spine, not on your lower back. So right up in between the shoulder blades, and then your head comes down. Arms can come down to your sides with palms face up. You can keep your knees bent with your feet on the ground, or you could extend like long. If it doesn't feel comfortable, or if you're unsure, just raise any limb. There. Let's all take a deep breath in. And let it go on the side. When we get into a space of reactivity, where we're triggered and we're responding in a way that's based on our past conditioning, the space of our heart hardens. We get armor to protect ourselves. When we come into heart bench, we create a safe container for ourselves here on our mat, where we can begin to strip away those layers of tension, of tightness, past turned. We can begin to let the armor go. Because we know it's okay to be vulnerable here. We know it's okay to rest. If at any point you need to come out of this pose before I bring you out, you'll just bend your knees and with feet on the ground, gently roll over to your side and give yourself time to be there. We'll be here for just a few more breaths. Bring the feet back to the earth as you bend your knees. Being very mindful that you're up on blocks, so gently roll over to your right side. And take a moment here to pause. To be in this space between. And it's here that we can reflect on our experience. What did it feel like to be in a pose? What does it feel like to come out? Viktor Frankl says that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. From here, you'll make your way onto your back, move your blocks off of your mat. You'll lie on your back with your feet on the ground, knees bent, and then cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Flex your right foot. From the base of your right thigh, press your leg away from your body. And then decide if you want to stay just like this, or you could pick up your left foot and interlace your hands behind your left thigh or on top of your left shin. Shoulders back and down. See if you could balance out the weight between your left hip and your right hip. Go ahead and release your left foot back down to the ground if you picked it up. Bring your arms to a T or to cactus. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, drop both knees over to the right. Gaze out over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center and switch sides. Left ankle crosses over the top of the right thigh. Flex your left foot from the base of the left thigh. Press the leg away from the body to open the hip. And then you could decide to stay here or pick up your right foot, interlace your hands behind your right thigh on top of your shin. Take your shoulder blades onto your back, keeping the space of the heart open. Balance out the weight from the left hip to the right. Release the clasp of your hands, right foot back down to the ground, arms out to a T or cactus. Inhale, exhale to twist, knees drop to the left, gaze out over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. You can give yourself a little massage here on your little back. Give yourself a little hug. And then we'll come into happy baby. Take the knees wide, soles of the feet up towards the sky. You can grab onto the pinky toe edges of the feet or grab your ankles. You can also wrap your arms around the backs of your thighs and clasp hands. Is a nice modification. And then this, you could stay just like this, or you could rock back and forth with your low back. Whenever this pose feels complete for you, make your way into Shavasana. You can use as many props as you like. You could also opt to take your legs off the wall if that speaks to you. You could add some layers, some blanket. Bring lay in Shavasana. Let your feet gently over to the sides. Bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. Let your whole body get there. Give yourself permission here for your bones to rest, for your muscles to rest. Check in with your tongue in your mouth, letting it be heavy and wide on the lower palate. Widen the corners of your eyes. Allow your eyeballs to descend into their sockets. Give yourself permission. Fully relax into Shavasana. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Drawing awareness down into your body as you wiggle your fingers and your toes. Start to bring small movements back into the body. Calling all of your awareness back. When you're ready, you'll put your knees into your chest. Gently rolling to your right side. Take your time here to make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. And when you arrive, close your eyes. Sitting up nice and tall. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Here you can call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class Feel free to modify or change it in any way to carry with you off of your mat back out into your life. We'll seal in our intention and end our class with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart, honoring yourself for your practice both on and off your mat. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you all so much for your practice, for being here both in person and from your own homes. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's rainy, gray. It is always, right? I have candles. Thank you both so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.